So I'm doing an inspection on a 2013 Nissan Frontier, and they're from Michigan. They're traveled here, and before they go back, they was here squeaking for the brakes, and didn't want to drive back to Michigan with the brakes like this. And I get it up, take the tire off. That's not supposed to be like that. Now this is the only side that looks like that. The rest of them, if we go look in the back, this is heat. That one's got a little bit of wear and tear and scratching. Then we go to the passenger side. This one's just got a lot of heat. There isn't really any scratches in this one. But then we go to this one as well, and this one's just got a bunch of heat. Smooth, but a lot of heat wear on the brakes and rotors. Yep, we're gonna need it all the way around. So with this Nissan Frontier, we are changing both front and probably rear. As of right now, we're taking off the calipers to see if the pistons will compress. And pretty much there's just two bolts, one here, one down here. There's a 14 mil, and you just take them off, and this should pull out. If it doesn't, just take a flathead, wedge it in here, pry it off, and then we'll compress it. We'll take one of the brake pads and either pliers, or if you have a brake piston tool, then use that. But we'll see in a second. Alright, so once you get the caliper off, you would want to remove the brake pads. This one, that is just the cover. Where's the... So once you get the calipers off, take the brake pads out, use a flathead as well. This one, the bracket's kind of in the way here, and you can't just pull it out straight. So you have to pop one end off and then the other end. But here's one of them. I think this one is from the passenger side. But here's the one that's digging into the metal. Here, let me get a flathead, wherever that might be. Right here. Take the flathead. Oh, bottom wants to come out first, and then you pop it out. And yeah, there ain't even brake pad left. This is just the metal that it sits on. So, and then yeah, the caliper. But then after that, we'll end up taking these bolts off, which should be 16s or 17s. Never mind. Probably 18 or 19. I'm going to say 19. Yep. Take some 19. You take this one, and there's one up here. Take that off. Bracket will come off. Then you pull the rotor off. And with how rusty this is, and how bad it is, it's probably stuck on the wheel hub. So, oh no, this one is not. Let's see the passenger one. This one's not stuck either. Sometimes they'll be rusted to the wheel hub, like really badly. You want to take a hammer, just hit either side of the rotor or these contact points here. Then the rears. On most vehicles, your parking brake will be inside under the rotor, which you don't want to hammer on because you might damage the parking brake through the rotor. But we are going to be waiting to send an estimate to the customer. They definitely need the entire front brakes and rotors replaced. And then with the calipers, you don't always have to do it. We're going to end up doing a brake fluid flush, but when you press these in, you either get a brake caliper tool or you can use big pliers, but they do compress easier if you open the bleeder valve, but that would require you to bleed the brakes after putting on the new ones, which you always want someone else to help you if you don't already. But since we're doing a brake flush, we open the bleeder valves, and it presses the pistons in a lot easier. And that also means they don't need new calipers. If they don't push in easily with the bleeder open, then they need calipers. But we'll be back when we get the bracket off and all the new stuff. So another thing you can do is, you don't always have to do it, but if you pull this out, just be careful not to tear the boot up. But you can pull these out, the slide pins, and you see all this dirty grease on it. If you have a wire wheel or wire brush, you can clean this off and re-grease it, and then just slide it back in and it should pop, and it'll re-grease it and be all good for the new brakes. Alright, so once you get the brackets off, these are the front ones. It's pretty much the same for the rear. And you take the clips off. And if you don't have one of these at your home or your shop, just go to your local parts store, hardware store. You can get a wire brush, or you can get one that goes on your drill. And you just want to clean the contacts where the metal pieces go, right here. You don't have to get it super perfect, just clean the rust off. Then, as I said earlier, pull these out, and then you want to brush those off as well. And make sure you get brake grease for these. I forget what it's called. Let's go over here real quick. I'm pretty sure it's this stuff, the silicone caliper lube. Looks like this. Once you clean those off and clean the caliper pins, clean those, re-grease them, put them back in, and then you just add all your new parts and go backwards. The bolts, the bracket, the bolts, and then the brake pads, and then that should be good. So once you get the brackets all clean and you have your new rotors, you want to make sure you clean this with brake clean, because it has a coating on it that's not good for the brakes when you install them. So clean them with brake cleaner and wipe them down. And then same thing, put the bracket on, put the bolts in. Slide pins all clean, re-greased. You just tighten these in, then you will torque them down. Or if you're just at home and not at a shop, then you don't really have to torque them, just make sure they're tight. And then I will be back with the brake pads. And then, just like when you took it off, there will be new clips that come with the brakes. And you just want to put those on the brackets when you get the brackets on, or you can do it before, it doesn't matter. Probably be best to put them on after, so you're not scratching the rotor at all. So, get the clips out. This little side right here with the little scoop will go over this way, and then these two with these little bump outs will go into these slots here. Just wrap around. Just make sure. You might need to do it with two hands if it don't want to work, but you should clip in pretty much just like this. Once you get the brake pads in, it'll keep them still. Right? So with the brackets, once you get the clips in, so it's not the same in every car, but for this 2015 Nissan Frontier, which since I work at our shop, we had to torque these down, and they are 136 foot-pounds. They are different on every vehicle, but as I said before, if you don't work at a shop, you won't have to worry about torquing them. You can just tighten them down with an impact if you have one, or get a long bar like this, breaker bar or whatever, and just tighten them to the best you can. It won't hurt anything, but we're a shop, so I have to torque these down to 136. So be right back. So once you get the brackets on and the clips, same for the rear, is the same for the front. You want to put your brake pads in. Now for the front and rear, there'll be 3 brake pads that look the same, and one of them will have a type of little clip on the top right here. You want to put that on the back side on, like for the front here, this one's on the driver front on the back side, and then the other one for the rear is on the passenger side on the back. Pretty much it's a tapper or like scraper that lets you know when the pads are low. It'll start scraping on the or squeaking on the rotor, but they just kind of fit in the brake pads. You just kind of wedge them in there. It's pretty easy. Then you put this on. Now, since if you took the slide pins out and re-greased them, there's going to be a little bit of pressure in here, so you'll have to push these back to get the caliper over. And then you put the bolts in. These ones also have to be torqued, but either at a shop or at home, you don't need to torque them. You just make sure they're tight. And then that's pretty much the whole brake change on this vehicle, or any vehicle, minus the torque on the bolts. Alright, thanks for watching.